Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ranting Shop. It's me, Melissa. We're going to be talking about the finale, not the finale, the reunion, the final episode of Put a Ring on It, season 2. Okay, that reunion has been hyped up. People have been hyped up about seeing it. People have been turned up. People have um, picked sides. There's Team Lex, there's Team Kai. But let's just get into every single thing that happened. Of course, my general feeling about the reunion is that it was very much lackluster, very lackluster. And they spent very little time on Eric and Jessica and on Sean and LaRonda. Most of what people really wanted to see on that reunion was Kai, Darian, and Alexia's triangle. And so that was the last part, and I think longest part of the reunion. However, I feel like the tea that was spilled off the show was hotter than the tea spilled on the show. So again, compared to what was seen, what was heard, interviews and so on outside of the show, what the show gave was very much, I'm not even gonna call it disappointing, just lackluster. But we're gonna get into it. I've spoken a whole lot. So actually there's no need to say too much about what happened during the reunion for LaRonda and Sean, because a lot of what we saw throughout the entire season was just reiterated on the show. Sean got what he wanted from the show. He realized that he was in love with LaRonda through the process. LaRonda got more than what she wanted. She got an engagement in the end. And I feel like what it was that they were always going to, or on track to, be married. Like, they were always going to get married. It's just that with the show, they have to kind of downplay the good and exaggerate the bad to make it seem like the couple is in turmoil. But I think they never really were, never really were. Yes, Sean is very emotional, and he addressed that, and he stated that he was happy to have gotten the opportunity to be emotional. We all saw the clip where Sir James dissed Sean and essentially called him LaRonda's child. And that is like the little running joke between LaRonda and Sean's relationship, that she kind of holds a motherly position in his life, in the relationship. So it was like kind of disrespectful, and then they go back and forth about Sean, Sir James being a big older guy playing tag football, and they going back and forth in this ridiculous, little rant. And then LaRonda was like, okay, sweetie, okay, meaning like stop, so he obliged. They stopped the little petty argument. They talked about Brittany. So I mean, the exes had came out and stuff. So Sir James spoke. Brittany is now speaking. She said she felt a little misled by Sean because Sean alluded to going to Florida to visit her, to watch her perform, which played out on the show. LaRonda was not happy about it. It did not happen. I just think that he felt, according to his explanation, he just felt that he wanted to repay her for her taking the time out to go on a date with him, even knowing that she was busy and whatever the case is. So they asked LaRonda, like, if Sean wasn't in the picture, would you date Derek or whatever? And she was like, yeah, sure. Like, we have similarities as far as our jobs are concerned, as far as, what we want are concerned. And so she said yes. But did you guys peep Sean's face? Talk about insecure. But anyways, you have her, so you're fine. He talked about almost being hospitalized. And I was like, what happened? I've never heard him speak about him almost being rushed to the hospital, or did I miss that? I have no idea. But he did end up almost getting into the hospital, going to the hospital. I don't know what happened. Okay, now we're gonna go over to Jessica and Eric. Jessica initially spoke about not trusting the process initially, until she saw Eric trusting the process, and then she trusted it. They didn't think they would make it because she was talking about they were in such a volatile place, back and forth, not seeing eye to eye, However, she realized through the show that she didn't want anyone else but Eric. Eric saw Jessica's willingness to change, to fix, to resolve their problems, and that is what ultimately made him feel comfortable enough to propose to her. And of course, we go to the dates, you know, Leilani and Sean. Leilani is very touchy-feely. She works in that cosmetic industry, so she's used to always touching and caressing. Jessica was uncomfortable with that. Leilani was quite cool. Leilani is not one to be temperamental. She's very mature, and her responses showed that. Then Jessica spoke about something that she misinterpreted. She thought that Leilani was offering to take Eric on a vacation or a trip, when actuality they were talking about Eric and Jessica going on that trip. So the moment she got the clarification, she was on 10, but she immediately piped down. You know, what you gonna do to pipe down? You know, she piped down real fast. So yeah, that was basically that about Lorinda and Jessica situation. Now the hot tea part was Alexia and Darian situation. So Alexia said she didn't get everything she wanted, but Darian did. Everything he did was from his gut. That's what he said. Everybody's visual interpretation of how Darian looked was that he was kind of high. He looked like he was on drugs. But I've gotten that impression from the very first time I laid eyes on Darian. Something about him is not quite right, you know. And, you know, multiple people have stated that he allegedly consumes illegal drugs, including the white powder. And the ex-Dina mentioned that, and Kai mentioned that. So I'm inclined to believe that that is true, you know. A lot of the time during this segment, Darian was contradicting himself. On the one hand, he's saying that him and Alexia were not heading down the marriage path. Alexia felt like if she hadn't known that Darian had cheated, they would have gone into being engaged and being married and all these things. However, Darian was saying they were never on the path to marriage because his needs were never met. He felt like it was always about what Alexia wanted to do, what Alexia wanted, and nothing to do with what he wanted. Okay, he said his sexual needs were not being fulfilled, you know. And Alexia's response to that was the reason why is because she was suspicious of him. She felt like he was cheating, and he was. I'm pretty sure he was cheating throughout the entire relationship. I'm pretty certain that he didn't just start with Kai. According to her, in several interviews, she stated that although she had the suspicion that he cheated, she never had the proof. The proof she did get was not legitimate proof. It was not proof enough for her to question him or to confirm her suspicions. So the contradictory part about Darian is that he was saying that they were never headed on a path to marriage. However, he was planning to propose to her. So if you were planning to propose to her, why are you saying that you were not on track for marriage? Were you proposing to her because, as he stated on the show, was it because of what she wanted, or was it because of what you wanted? It's very clear that when he realized that he really messed up and there was no way Alexia was taking him back, at least in a romantic sense, he panicked. And his reaction was, his solution was, okay, I'll give her what she wants. She wants a proposal, I'll give her the proposal. But it seemed as if that proposal was not even because he genuinely wanted to propose to her. It was just almost like a band-aid. Like, I did something, I messed up, and this is the only way I could fix it. That's what it seemed like to me. And it didn't work because regardless of the fact, he went to production, he went everywhere talking about how Alexia put him out. She's not allowing him to come back to the house. It just seemed to me like what he did was just out of pure desperation, not because he genuinely wanted to. So that is not a compliment to Alexia in the least. Because he didn't propose to you because he wanted to. He proposed to you because he felt forced to. Because he did wrong. And the fact that Alexia did not take the bait, which I'm happy she didn't, or else she'd be looking like a fool. I'm happy she let him just not get back with her, because she'd be looking like a complete and utter ass. Anyways, after Alexia didn't want him, he moved to Kai. Kai mentioned about, she took Alexia mentioned that Kai took her clothes off in a parking lot or something. Come to find out, in an interview that Kai did with Little Black Book, she addressed that situation, and she mentioned that she wasn't undressing in a parking lot. That was false. And how Alexia knew anything about her in a parking lot was that Kai is alleging that Alexia befriended the neighbors in the condo and had them take pictures of Kai and Darian in the condo. So that's how she got a lot of her information, I suppose, when it came to Kai. So Kai is basically saying that it's not that Alexia just found out. Alexia knew a long time ago about the situation with Kai and Darian. So essentially, Kai was the backup plan. And that is the truth of the matter. She was the backup plan. He had no other place to go, no other choice. So he stuck to the closest thing or the next best thing to him at that time, which was Kai. So I mentioned that I'm glad Alexia knows that Darian is a manipulator, because if you listen to both women, you'd realize that Darian is essentially the base of all the chaos. He implemented triangulation in this situation where he was putting both women against each other so that it would minimize his actions. And it worked, because if you look at both interviews, the women are coming more so at each other than they are at Darian. You know, even with his exes, especially Kona and the first baby's mother or the other baby mother, they're coming at the women. They're not coming at Darian. So Darian is a master manipulator in the art of triangulation. He's good, because these women were coming at each other at one point. They were. And basically made it seem like the issues were each other as opposed to the issue being Darian. You know, biggest sign of a narcissist. So Kai showed up. She mentioned she found him attractive. He mentioned Kai was a breath of fresh air. He was constantly fighting with Alexia. You know, he was telling Kai that it was over, but in the meantime, he was coming back to Alexia, telling Alexia that Kai, he doesn't really like Kai. The situation with Kai is not serious, that he only wants Alexia. So clearly he was playing both women. Okay. I said, why did Kai wait for Darian to answer, to confirm her answer as pertaining to when did they sleep together? So Egypt, the host, is asking Kai, because Darian had already answered and mentioned that they slept together after the third date. So she wanted to hear what Kai had to say, and Kai was like, okay, Darian, what did you say? And Darian said after the third date, and then she says after the third date. It makes me question whether it was at the third date or not, because it seemed as if it wasn't. And then before Kai came on, he's trying to make it seem like he only slept with Kai once. Come to find out, Kai says he slept with her more than twice. So Darian is clearly a liar, and basically all what he was saying was to minimize his wrong in the situation. And if Alexia was smart, she would cut off complete communication with Darian. Via Little Black Book's interview, it's very clear that Alexia and Darian still communicate. Why? Why do they still communicate? I have no idea. If she was smart, if she was as smart as I think she is, she would cut off all communication with that man. All communication with him. You know? And I do believe that they slept more than twice together. Why would Kai lie? She has no reason to. Anyways, then Kai says she's in a relationship with Darian. The clips made it seem like Darian was, through body language, denying it, but we didn't see that during the reunion. He actually confirmed that Kai did nothing wrong and that he was not in a relationship with Alexia at that time. So if Alexia is saying they were in a relationship but Darian is saying they weren't, who is the liar here? Who is lying? Clearly Darian is not to be trusted. But you know, if we have to look at technicalities, technically, yes, he did sleep with Kai while he was in a relationship with Alexia. During that time, if you notice on the show, that's the moment he had changed and suddenly been more lovey-dovey, been more of what Alexia wanted. Alexia was actually happy during that time. So for him to say he wasn't with her, that's a blatant lie. He was still with her. That's a lie. You know, that is a complete and utter lie. Yeah, so as I said, 1 minute they were never on track to marriage. The next minute he's confirming that he was planning to propose. And that was crazy to me. That caught Kai off guard because she really thought her and Darian were in a relationship. Come to find out Darian was planning to propose to Kai the whole time and was trying to get back with Alexia. So she's upset. She runs off the stage. Darian follows her. she was clearly being lied to. She says they have that big tussle and whatnot. They go in the room. Who knows what they were talking about? I don't know if they were in a bathroom, whatever. She comes out. Egypt goes to find her. They speak, and Kai is basically saying it appears like it's almost like I'm seen as the bad person when I knew nothing of what was going on here. And then Egypt was like, well, do you understand where Alexia is coming from? And then she says she does understand, so whatever that exchange happened, and she left. She never came back onto the stage, or maybe she did and it wasn't shown. Kai felt played. She felt unheard. She says Alexia has a reason to feel how she feels, and she said she had nothing. Although Alexia did have a right to feel how she feels, she said she felt she wasn't responsible for it, and she's right. She's not responsible for it. Darian is responsible. But I think what Alexia was trying to say was, as a woman, I mean, we would expect for us to stick together in that situation and for you not to cross that line. I think that's what Alexia was trying to say. But essentially, yes, Kai should not be blamed. Kai is not to be blamed. It is all Darian's fault. It is all Darian's fault. So he triangulated the hell out of them. Eric and Jessica come to find out they're building a home in Orlando. Loranda and Sean are deciding to work on themselves. They're still engaged, but they're gonna be working on themselves individually. Darian said he wasn't Alexia's man, and of course they're clearly broken up. And as of now, Kai is no longer with Darian. Clearly, that whole car debacle happened, and we're gonna talk a little bit about that later. As for the reunion, Dr. Nicole was basically telling the people to heal yourself, see the gift that you are to yourself, so that when you get into a relationship, you bring your best self and not a emotionally abused or tattered or broken version of yourself to the relationship. She mentioned that the whole process was about managing yourself. And that is essentially the truth of the situation. What will you do? What are you supposed to do? Don't ask me what you should do. What do you think you should do? And that is essentially the beauty of this show, because it allows people to manage themselves, do what you think is best for you. You're grown. You have the ability to decide what is best for you in your relationship. If you have to look to me to guide you in that regard, then you're already lost. You've lost, because it's like you clearly don't know what's best for you in your relationship. So I'm gonna touch a little bit about Kai's interview with Little Black Book, a little bit of things that she cleared up. She cleared up that Alexia had neighbors take pictures of them, her and Darian, at the condo. That's how she knew that Darian and Kai had been with each other, and she knew about the undressing thing. Only that Kai said she didn't undress in a parking lot, so that was not true. Darian mentioned the fact that, or was it Alexia who said, Darian said that Kai followed him to the condo. Kai made it clear that it was Darian who texted her the address. Okay. And he picked her up. She picked him up at Alexia's house, because it seemed as if Alexia had kicked him out. And so Kai came to drive him off, which to me is just red flags like popping out of like everywhere. Kai wasn't supporting Darian financially, but she did mention that his credit card declined at a restaurant. Kai didn't write on his car because he declined to live with her. She wrote on his car because he had that white woman in his condo just 24 hours after she was there, and she felt disrespected. Now, that white woman has been spoken about before. That white woman has been a constant in Darian's life. That white woman has been through many of Darian's situations. The situation with Dina, the white woman was there. The situation with Kona, the white woman was there. The situation with his baby's mother, which I don't know the name of, that white woman was there. So the relationship even with Alexia, that was 14 years, that white woman was there. So that white woman has been in the picture. That white woman is worse than Alexia, because at least Alexia finally left. That white woman is still fighting with Darian about his side women. Why are you still? That white woman is dumber than rocks. Like, why is she still there? Like, I'm not understanding. Is she a sugar mama? Because the way that Kai basically spoke about the white woman. It's like she tolerates, she argues, she complains, but still she tolerates everything Darian does. Like, why is she doing that? It's been, that white woman has been there for so long. I think she's been there longer than Alexia has ever been there with Darian, and she's still there. And you know, something that I peeped was that Kai was throwing a bit of shade and saying that Alexia stayed in the relationship for 14 years and it wouldn't take her 14 years to decide to leave. However, she mentioned a little tidbit and said 14 years and still going, meaning that Alexia and Darian probably still have a relationship with each other. Now, granted, it may not be a sexual relationship, it may not be a serious relationship, but they probably still have a friendship relationship. Absolutely. And I believe that, because how is he contacting you when you're on an interview with Little Black Book? How is he able to contact you? He shouldn't be able to. So they clearly still have a friendship. So you still have that white woman. Now, the people are saying that white woman is from Germany. I don't know if that white woman is from Germany or if she's from Greece, but some G European country. Some European country that starts with a G. Okay. Then she mentioned the condo being illegal, and people are saying that she was, you know, trying to get into Darian's house, and that then she said actually Darian was the one that would have had to go to her home, because the condo was not in his name. The condo is in an illegal name, and so on and so forth. Anyways, she showed text messages that Darian was trying to get her back, that Darian wasn't sleeping with the white woman had his phone, and blah 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 blah. That is irrelevant. The point to note is at least she's not with him anymore, you know, because she'd be a real clown if she decided to stick with him. What can I say about Kai? She looked a little bit stupid during that interview, I have to say. She looked very slow, very silly, and I understand her anger with Alexia, because women love to attack the other woman. It's easy to do. So I do think that Alexia's anger was very much justified, but it just shouldn't have been directed in any way or form to Kai. Kai's frustration with Alexia, I somewhat understand. It's because she felt like Alexia was kind of throwing shade at her. I mean, if you were in Alexia's shoes, you'd probably throw shade at the other woman too. Granted, the other woman is not the problem or should not be the focus, but we know how that goes. As far as Jessica is concerned, she addressed her issue with Jessica. She doesn't have an issue with Jessica. Jessica kind of dissed her on 2 occasions, calling her slow, saying that, you know, people were coming at Jessica, asking Jessica, where is your children? We've never seen your children. And she threw it back on Kai, talking about Kai has children too, Darian has children too, why aren't people attacking them? At the end of the day, why would people expect children to be a part of this show? This show has nothing to do with children. That whole question was stupid. Her coming at Kai was stupid because it didn't have anything to do with Kai. She is correct about that. Jessica threw a lot of low blows at Kai, saying that she talks very slow and she looks ugly and whatever the case is. That is actually very immature on Jessica's part. That's not your business. Let Alexia fight her fight. She's a grown woman, and worry about you and Eric. Worry about you guys' hairlines. That's what you guys should be worrying about. Like, I understand that you're mad and you're upset because how dare Kai, you know, but at the end of the day, for you to take your energy and to come at this woman who has never interacted with you, who doesn't know you, I just feel like it's counterproductive. Like, more time should be spent growing a hairline, growing hair, because Eric is balding in multiple places and he needs to get that fixed. He needs to get that sorted out. He's still fighting, you know, to keep a hairline that doesn't want to stay. The hairline doesn't want to stay. So you guys need to work on that. Leave Kai to deal with Darian and whatever case she has going on with them, and worry about yourself. Okay, how about that? Anyways, it still looks a little bit shaky with Erica and Jessica. They didn't seem to be the most in love during the reunion. And I feel like she wanted to have a problem with Leilani, but Leilani didn't give her an opportunity to have a problem with her, if you know what I mean, because of her approach. Leilani's approach is quite mature. She knows when to not speak. She knows when to speak. She's very likable. So it's like Jessica wanted to not like her, but found nothing there to not like. she kind of wanted to prove that Eric was a cheat, so to speak, but we never saw any inklings of that during the season. So she definitely has to work on her self-esteem. She has to work on her issues with Eric moving forward, you know. Do I think that Eric and Jessica will last? Nope. I'm highly skeptical of their relationship. I just don't see I feel like it's past already. I feel like the spark is gone. Like, I don't see the spark anymore. I don't see it, you know. However, I am very much rooting for LaRonda and Sean. I definitely think they have a shot. I definitely think Sean would be a very good husband to LaRonda. However, he has to get his finances in check, and he has to get his emotions in check, you know. And he has to deal with the issues with his dad, irrespective of LaRonda and their relationship. Anyways, you guys, that's it for my review of Put a Ring on It season 2 episode reunion. Let me know what you guys think. You know, a lot of people is expecting the reviewers to really hate on Kai and bash Kai. Yes, Kaiser made herself look very clownish, but that's all I'm gonna say about her. Alexia did the same at the end of the day. They both made themselves look clownish. Darian is a fool, he's a clown, he's a narcissist, he's a manipulator, he's a filthy person. He's a user. He's been using. That's how he survives. He survives by using people. That's how he lives. That's how he's able to even have some place to live in, you know. He keeps a woman in the clutch, you know. He keeps them in a clutch, and he keeps them on rotation as well, unbeknownst to them. And even if they know it, they don't seem to mind very much, especially that white woman. Anyways, you guys, let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, and see you next time. Bye. The end of Put a Ring on It.